And who is Mr. Shaw? Okay, why don't you come forward, if you will, just to that lectern area there, Mr. Shaw. Let me pull up your case. If you'll pull up the actual deferred prosecution agreement, that's what would be most helpful. That's great, thanks. All right, Mr. Shaw, there's one charge for you. It's a charge of being a minor in possession of alcohol. Our prosecutors offered a 6-month deferred prosecution. You may have heard me describe that to the young person that was here with an attorney just a few minutes ago. A deferred prosecution does not require that you plead guilty to anything. You're not giving up your right to trial even on the charge. You're just giving up your right to have a trial within 90 days of the date that you first plead, actually 91 days of the date that you first plead not guilty. We're going to keep the case open. You're agreeing to complete whatever substance abuse class our probation officer determines for you. And then you're going to be required to pay a $100 fee and go through the period while the case is open without any other violations. If you live up to your end of the agreement, at the end of the period when you've completed the class, we're going to dismiss the case and seal your record. We'll give you a deadline for completing that class. It's probably in about a 1 to 2 month period. It won't be the full 6 months. You can sign up for the class right away, get that class certificate to us, and as soon as we have that certificate, we would dismiss the charge and seal the record. It doesn't have to stay open for 6 months, all right? So that's the option that's available to you. It will be available probably to the rest of the group that's here, but I'll be checking each file to make sure that we have an actual offer in the file. That's one way to proceed. You could also reschedule your case to consult with an attorney, or you could move forward with pleading not guilty and setting for trial. What would you like to do?
I'll take the first option.
Take the op, and can you pay the $100 fee today?
Yes.
Are you a CU student?
I am.
Now, I may not ask that to everybody. What I really ask for people to do is, if you are not a CU student, let me know that, because it'll be a different class requirement. Everything else will be the same, but we will have a class that you're not completing on campus that you're completing online. So just let me know if you're not a CU student. You will get the same offer generally, but it's helpful for me to point that out for our staff. And then that $100 fee, did I ask if you can pay that today?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any questions about how this works?
No.
I'll point out a couple of things as we go along for everybody, but for today, for you, your purposes, we'll just have you have a seat. But what I will point out to you and to others is we're going to give you a deadline. Probation will give you a deadline for getting that class certificate back to her. You'll want to make sure that you meet that deadline. It's a court date. If you don't come back on your court date and we don't have proof that you've completed the class, a warrant could issue for your arrest, because it is a court date, just like today's was. If you've received notice that your case has been dismissed and your record's been sealed, that's how you'll know that you don't have a court date, because we got your class certificate and we processed your case appropriately. All right, so just if something comes up and you're not sure, you can always call probation officer or email her and try to find out whether you're required to appear at the next court date or whether she's received the documentation. All right, if you'll just step to the side here, Mr. Shaw, we'll call the next case. And if you need this, I can start doing them too, so you can Leighton Ward. Hello, Mr. Ward.
Hello.
Nick's pulling up the agreement for me on your case. And Mr. Ward, you do have a deferred prosecution offered in your case. It's exactly the same as the young man I just spoke to. It's for a 6-month term, and you would be required to complete a level class that is determined by our probation officer. Have you decided whether you'd like to accept that or
I
not?
would like to accept the honor.
Do you have any questions for me?
I do not, Your Honor.
And I am assuming you're a CU student. Is that accurate?
Correct, Your Honor.
All right. So we're going to make this an order of the court. There's a $100 deferred prosecution fee. Can you pay that today?
Yes, Your Honor.
It will be for 6 months. You'll have the class that's determined by our probation officer to complete. And if you'll just step to the side here, we'll call the next case.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Ellis Brunk. Hello, Mr. Brunk. And Nick, if you need to input data, I can pull up the file, so we can team up here. Mr. Brunk, you also have a deferred prosecution that's offered in your case. It's for a 6-month term. Same exact conditions as the last two young men. How would you like to proceed?
The exact same way.
You want to accept the offer that's been made? Okay, and you're not required to plead guilty to anything, so the case will simply stay open for that 6-month term, and it can be closed earlier as long as you've done what you're promising to do. Can you pay that $100 fee today?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you have any questions about how this works? What happens if you haven't heard from us that the case has been dismissed and you think you sent us the proof that you've completed the class?
Got a court date,
Right, so what would you do?
come to court.
You could, that's the safest thing to do, but before then, you could even just call the court's probation officer and say, what happened? Did you, and you could say, here, let me email it again if it didn't get to her, okay? Don't want to unnecessarily burden you all by having to come back to court. Just want to make sure we don't have to issue warrants. once or twice a year, I have to issue a warrant for someone who didn't follow through with what they were supposed to do. And it's no fun to do that. Certainly no fun to see them in jail when it's really just an oversight. But make sure that you're really careful about this because it is a court proceeding. All right, but based on this information that I have, we won't enter a plea today. We'll make this an order of the court. And if you'll just step aside, Mr. Brunk, as soon as we have the last two folks ready, we'll get you off to see our probation staff. Leo Sharkey. Good afternoon, Mr. Sharkey. Nick and I are going to race. I think he'll be faster, but we'll see. It's a tie. All right, Mr. Sharkey, you have a deferred prosecution that's available to you. Your charge is a little bit different, but it's the same outcome. It's possession or consumption of marijuana by someone under the age of 21. But the same rule would apply as if you were to complete the substance use class that's ordered by our probation officer, you will be able to have your case dismissed. You're not required to plead guilty to anything. It's just agreeing to keep the case open for 6 months. So that's an option for you. How would you like to proceed?
I accept the deal.
All right, do you have any questions for me?
No, I don't.
All right, I'm going to make this an order of the court. Can you pay that $100 fee today?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to make this an order of the court. And then if we'll just have you step aside for a moment, we'll call the last case before we send you back as a group. Jack Collum. Good afternoon, Mr. Collum.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Mr. Collum, there is a deferred prosecution offer in your file. It is for the 6-month term. And the conditions are exactly the same. So the question is, would you like to accept that or no?
I'll accept the offer.
Do you have any questions for me before we make this a court order?
No, Your Honor.
Can you pay that $100 deferred prosecution fee?
Yes.
I am going to make this an order of the court. It will be for deferred prosecution for 6 months. You'll be expected to complete the class that's determined by our probation officer, get that proof back to her before the date that she sets for you. And then that'll close up the case. All right, so we're done with all 5 of you. We're going to send you back. Jose's going to walk you back to meet with probation. She will be your contact person. So if something comes up in the interim that you need to share with her or talk to her about, that's who you contact. She's also the person that's ultimately going to dismiss your case and make sure your record gets sealed associated with the case. So that'll be the person that you contact in the court. You don't have to come back to have your record sealed. We do that automatically at the end of the term. And in this case, as soon as we have proof that you've completed the class. All right, right to the back with Jose. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
The next 5 names of what I will call will be Cooper Bannon, Michaela Heinke, Haley, I believe it's Swike, Sienna Simmons, and Graceland Grant.
Well, that took a turn. What we had here was less of a single hearing and more of an assembly line of young defendants working their way through Judge Jeff Cahn's courtroom. One after another, Mr. Shaw, Mr. Ward, Mr. Brunk, Mr. Sharkey, and Mr. Collum stepped up to face the familiar charge of underage possession, with one marijuana case mixed in. And for each of them, the offer was the same: a 6-month deferred prosecution, no guilty plea required, a $100 fee, and a class assigned by probation. Finish the class, stay out of trouble, and the case gets dismissed and sealed. On paper, it's repetitive, but Judge Cahn didn't treat it that way. He walked each defendant through the process, checked their understanding, and even tailored the advice a bit, reminding Mr. Shaw, for example, that if paperwork doesn't get filed properly, a warrant could issue. That wasn't a scare tactic, just a straightforward reminder that court deadlines matter. Mr. Brunk got a pop quiz moment when the judge asked him what to do if he hadn't heard about a dismissal yet, reinforcing that showing up or calling probation is the safe route. Mr. Sharkey's case stood out slightly since his charge involved marijuana, but the outcome was identical. Same 6-month deal, same fee, same conditions. What really struck me was the atmosphere. It was calm, almost collegial, with Judge Cahn even joking with his clerk about who could pull up files faster. The defendants themselves were respectful, answered questions directly, and none of them seemed combative or confused. This was the judicial process at its most efficient. 5 cases handled in a steady rhythm. Then the group walked together to meet probation. Judge Cahn's style here was classic. Firm about the responsibilities, patient in his explanations, and practical enough to make sure no one left the courtroom misunderstanding what they'd just agreed to. If there was drama to be had, it was in the efficiency itself, seeing how a court can move briskly while still treating each case as important. That's not always easy, but Judge Cahn managed it. If you found this hearing insightful, consider subscribing. hitting the bell, and letting me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read everyone,